I spent 57 days traveling through about 13 countries and 20 plus cities all across Europe with really no plan, no itinerary, one bag. And I learned so much about myself and so much about life. And somehow it was one of the best decisions I really ever made in my life. And I wanted to share some lessons that really changed how I see and approach life entirely. So I'll jump into number one, and that is to find a way to appreciate the in between moments. In life, we try so hard to skip past the in between moments. There was so much of that in between, going from one country to the next, from one city to the next. I found myself wanting to skip past those moments, wanting to just get to the quote unquote good part of life. And what I found was that a lot of people see those in between moments as stuff that is supposed to drain you, the annoying part of life, the sitting in traffic, waiting in line, waiting for the good thing that's coming in the future. And I just found myself wanting to skip past it until I realized that I could use it as a time to recharge, whether it was watching a movie or listening to music or just looking out the window and looking at the scenery of the country that I was in. Finding a way to appreciate those in between moments, not just in travel, but in life in general. If you really think of life as a whole, there really are just a few in the grand scheme of your life. And so the everyday of life is that in between. It's the in between of the monotonous, boring things that are just standard to life, the routine of what life is. And if you can find a way to appreciate and make each day special, you'll find so much more peace in life. The stillness, the quiet in the waiting of life, if you're able to find more of it and more peace in it, I think life will be so much more enjoyable. I remember on a bus, I can't remember where it was from, to be completely honest with you. I think it was from Strasbourg, France to Paris, France. And I remember sitting next to this girl that was on the bus with me, and I just kept seeing her check her phone. Every 3 to 5 minutes, she was checking her phone, maybe even more frequently, for like almost an hour and a half straight. And I could just see the stress and anxiety that she was really creating for herself, because the bus can only go as fast as the traffic's going to allow it to go. There's nowhere we can go, right? We're sitting on a bus. You have to allow it to just be what it is. And I found myself very at peace, just allowing the bus to, however long it was going to take, it was going to take that long. And you could keep checking the map and seeing how fast it was going to go, but it's going to be exactly what it's going to be. And it was funny because we got off the bus at the same time. And so, with all the anxiety and stress that she was placing upon herself, maybe she got off the bus 5 seconds faster than I did. But our experience was so much different because I didn't place so much stress on myself in that in between. Life is going to happen as it's supposed to. If you're able to unfold and be fluid with it, so much can be enjoyed that we used to feel as though we'd like to skip past it. And so if you're able to find a way to appreciate the in-between moments of life, life would be so much more fun and so much more enjoyable and so much more peaceful. Because if you can stop rushing through life and find a way to appreciate those in-between moments, I really think that's where peace is found. I've experienced so much peace this year in my life, and I think so much of it has come from this appreciation for the in-between. That's lesson one. Lesson two is to be a fluid traveler. This is kind of in line with lesson one, but it's a little bit different in the sense that delays, cancellations, lost bags, all of it's inevitable. Like, life is going to find a way to insert itself. Things are going to go wrong. Things are going to go sideways. Things are going to take longer than you think. But honestly, the unexpected detours of life are some of the most fun moments of life. And when you stop resisting them, life starts to feel a bit lighter. When you allow yourself to just be fluid with life, like, and there's a quote that I keep coming back to: I just don't mind what happens. It doesn't make you immune to stress, but it can allow you to have so much more um, ease and flow in life, because things are going to go wrong. Life's going to find a way to place itself in your plans. And I think for me, throughout that travel, going from place to place, I went from about every 3 to 5 days, for the most part, I went from a country to another country or a city to another city. And there's a lot of times where I'm just sitting in traffic, or I'm sitting on a bus, or I'm walking from one place to the next, or whatever is happening, that I had an idea of what was going to happen, and things changed its course. And if you're able to be a fluid traveler, not just in travel, but in life in general, and just be open to what is happening and don't resist life. But again, going back to the mindset of, I just don't mind what happens. I am just so open to how life is going to present itself, because so much of us, we create so much stress and anxiety in our lives simply with this idea that this is how things are supposed to go. This is what is supposed to happen. And if you place so much emphasis on your expectation, life can be very disappointing and very stressful if you have an idea of how things are supposed to go. But if you're open to how things are going to unfold, without the expectation of what you thought was going to happen, life can be so much more enjoyable. So those two are kind of in line with one another, but I think the different perspective on them is just like so powerful. And I just found myself finding so much peace in the in between and in the delays and in all the things that I thought were supposed to happen and didn't. It's just so much more enjoyable. Life is so much more enjoyable that way. I traveled a lot this year. I went to about 19, I think about 19 countries this year, but Europe was specifically was very fast paced. And I wanted it to be that way to see how I maneuvered with it and how I enjoyed it or didn't like it and figure out how I like to travel. And I just found myself so much finding peace in what many people told me before the journey was going to be stressful and tiring. And I just didn't find it that way. I found it very enjoyable to just be excited for the next place, but also allow things to unfold and maybe stay longer in a place that I didn't expect to stay longer in. Okay, lesson 3. Wherever you go, there you are. I think that a lot of people believe that if they're in a different place, they have a different job, they have different people around them, whatever the case may be. But like at a core level, if you're in a different place physically, your problems will be different. And it really is just not true because a destination does not fix your problems. It just changes the scenery. You're going to be dealing with the same problems no matter where you go. And I think a lot of people use travel as a form of escape, trying to escape their problems by being in a different place. I found a lot of peace being in different places, but it is not a substitute for dealing with the things that I must deal with, whether it's business or trauma or whatever the case may be. Going to different places will never solve the problems that you're currently dealing with in your life. And yeah, just that lesson of wherever you go, there you are is so true and so deeply rooted in my life. And I realized that I want to say last year when I went to Hawaii. Hawaii was the number one place in my bucket list. I'm currently in Kauai, Hawaii again today. And this place is so spiritual in such an insane extent that like not only are you not escaping your problems, they almost come to the surface when they do come to the surface when you're on Kauai specifically, at least for me and a lot of the other people that I know that have been here. It's a very grounding place that will bring up all of your problems. And so there's going to be certain places that may bring them up for you. They may help you suppress them a little bit more. You can try to escape them as much as you want when you're traveling and you think different places may do it. But it really is the truth that wherever you go, there you are. Some of the most depressed people in the world are people that are constantly traveling because they're trying to run away from their problems. I mean, I think of Anthony Bourdain. He traveled and did so much in his life and ended his life in such a sad way. And I just have found that no matter where I go, I am still the constant, right? And I think that really rings true. So wherever you're going, if you have traveled, if you haven't traveled, wherever you go, you are still going to be the focus of your life. You are still going to be looking through the lens of whatever problems you were currently dealing with before. So keep that in mind as you go through life, is that the external world can change, but if your internal world stays the same, so will your experience. Travel won't fix your problems. It just changes the scenery. Lesson 4, the less you need, the more you have. I traveled with just a backpack. Doesn't matter if I'm going for a week, if I'm going for 2 months, if I'm going for a year. I am going to bring one bag. And I've realized so much as I've traveled that the less I need, the more I have. And it has really made me realize what I truly desire, what I value when I'm traveling. Because every little thing, every extra thing is just another thing to worry about, another thing that takes up mental space, another thing that takes up physical space. And it just takes up so much energy to think about all of the things that you have to carry with you. And as I've traveled more and more, the more I become a minimalist in my life, both physically and metaphorically and mentally, I just want to let go of things. And I think we have been so taught to want and desire more and more and more and more. And there could be good things to that, right? The desire to achieve more and want to build and create things. And I don't think desire in itself is necessarily a bad thing. But I do believe that needing more and having to bring more things with you can sometimes weigh you down and often weighs you down. And so I've just found myself the more and more I travel, the less I need and the more that I'm at peace with having less. Like my expectation for what I need or my standard for what I need has dropped, yet my peace and my joy has risen. And I just really believe that minimalist in travel is also minimalist in life. If you're able to not need so much, you have so much more in life. Okay, last lesson, number 5, is that to be open to life. Half of the places that I visited on this journey, all across Europe, I went from France, Belgium, Netherlands, Denmark, Poland, Germany, um, Czech Republic, Austria, Slovenia, Budapest, Italy, Switzerland, back to Paris, actually to Strasbourg, then Paris. Jumped across a few cities in those countries as well, but many different countries that I just didn't plan to go to. I had no idea. And some of my favorite memories, some of my best friends across this journey happened because I just let life unfold and I was open to things changing. I didn't plan really anything. I just let life unfold. And I think it's really in a lens of travel, but really in a lens of life as well, to not be so arrogant to think that you know exactly what you think you're going to want in 5 years from now. Because the best things in life aren't planned. I mean, the work that I do, the podcast that I have, the people that I have met, the place that I'm in right now, I couldn't have planned for really anything that has been some of the best things in my life. And travel is a big part of that as well. And I think if you are open to life and not so rigid in what you think you want or what you think you're supposed to want, life can unfold in such a magical and beautiful way if you allow it. And really, some of the best things that have happened in my life have come because I was open to changing my mind. And I really do believe that if you are humble enough to realize that you're not going to know what you're going to want in a few years from now, because our desires and what we think we want change so much throughout our life. I think your life would be so much more, at least from my personal experience, has been so much more enjoyable because I don't grasp onto things anymore as much as I used to. I'm so much more open and not so rigid. And that in itself has helped me create so much peace in my life, especially throughout this journey. I've met so many people and catching up with people along the journey that just told me I was exuding a sense of peace throughout my journey. And I really feel like that rings true right now in my life. I just feel at peace. Like that is the I guess the word of the year for me has been peace. And if you're looking to experience more of that, hopefully this has helped. So that's it. 5 lessons from 13 countries in 57 days. Hope they help you move through life with more peace, more flexibility, more joy. Thank you for being here. If you want more lessons along my journey, this is fun. This is exciting for me. And I'm just learning so much about myself, and hopefully this has been helpful for you.